All right, what did Kirby Smart ask Santa Claus for Christmas? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Obviously, if you're watching, it is Christmas. Merry Christmas to you and your family. I forgot to put a video in the time slot, so it's Christmas morning. I hope everyone's having a great time, and I just started to think, right? If Kirby Smart had a wish list for Santa Claus, what would it be? Okay, let's break it down. Now, my first thing that I think Kirby Smart would ask is for an experienced center, right? Cedric Van Pran, multi-year starter, probably the best center in Georgia Bulldog history. He's going to be gone, right? An all-time Bulldog. But if Georgia wants to make it back to the national championship next year, they're going to need a center who plays at a high level. Now, I don't think there's anyone on the roster who is as good as Cedric Van Pran is. The guy was the best center in college football. There's no doubt about it. Jared Wilson was the backup last year, a guy that not a lot of Georgia fans know about because he's been behind Cedric Van Pran, the best center in college football. So I think Kirby Smart's probably asking Santa, you know what? I need a center. I need a really good one for the 2024 season. We're going to Oxford against an Ole Miss defense and defensive line that should be very good. We're going to Tuscaloosa against an Alabama defensive line that is going to be very good. Texas. We're going to Austin, Santa Claus. I need a center. Those guys are ballers over there on the defensive line. They've got NFL talent, finally, over in Austin. Well, they've kind of always had NFL talent, but they've squandered it. This Texas program seems like they're getting the most out of their players. They've got some dudes on the defensive line. Number one on Kirby Smart's wish list, I need a playmaking center. Playmaking center, the guy doesn't carry the football. I need an impact center. That's number one on his list. Number two, an elite pass rusher. Now, he's got some potential guys, right? Some young guys. Damon Wilson started to emerge as a freshman last year. Samuel Mpemba, Gabe Harris. One of those guys, in my opinion, needs to have a breakout sophomore season. They need that one elite, head-hunting, quarterback attacking, edge pass rusher. You have to have it. You have to have a guy that offenses and offensive tackles are scared of, guys that they have to really focus on and practice hard for that week leading up to the game. You have to get after the quarterback. And maybe it's Jalen Walker who stays at outside linebacker. I think they want him to kind of be an every down linebacker, even though they have a lot of true inside linebackers already. Maybe they leave Jalen Walker outside, but they need an impact elite pass rusher next year. Could be Damon Wilson, could be Sam Mpemba, maybe someone else, right? But someone needs to emerge, and I think that's definitely towards the top of Kirby Smart's wish list. Now, of course, it's Christmas. He's not going to get these gifts right now. Maybe they happen in the spring, right? Santa Claus is going to come by Athens a little later this spring. Not today, but he's come back later, and we'll see if Georgia gets some of these gifts that Kirby Smart needs. Another one. Listen, I'm just going off the top of the dome here, right? Because I said, oh, man, I need a YouTube video. I know it's Christmas, but some people are going to watch us. And I appreciate y'all watching on this Christmas. It's kind of cold. It's kind of muggy. Yeah, there might be some people on YouTube watching the Dawg Post crew. And, of course, I really appreciate it. What about a number one receiver, right? An elite pass catcher. Brock Bowers is probably gone. I don't think he's made an announcement yet. I think he might play in the Orange Bowl. It is something that Florida State fans should be upset about because their players are all gone. They don't care. They've left. Boom. Brock Bowers actually might play in the Orange Bowl. I'm not saying he will, but I think there's a chance he could, and that just means so much to this program and what Brock Bowers means. But next year, they need a go-to guy. Maybe that's Colby Young, right? Maybe that Christmas gift came early. A big 6'5", 215-pound, big target, vertical threat who can help in the screen game, runs like a deer. Maybe that's that guy, but he's going to need them to emerge and make those plays. I think a number one wide receiver is something this offense probably needs. But when you think about it, maybe they don't. There's a lot of guys. You've got, obviously Colby Young, London Humphreys, the two transfer wide receivers, but Ra Thomas is probably coming back, right? Dom Lovett probably coming back. Aaron Smith looks like he's coming back. Dylan Bell's really good. He made a lot of plays this year. Tennessee fans know all about Dylan Bell. They're still having nightmares about Dylan Bell. He's coming back next year. C.J. Smith is coming back next year, a guy who played a little bit here and there early on the season, but he's fast. He's lightning fast, and so is Anthony Evans. just an explosive player that I think the Georgia staff is starting to think, this guy's, yeah, he might be the player we recruited. He's starting to turn into that, and I think he could be a breakout player in the Orange Bowl. Just a guy to keep in mind. Got to keep in mind when you're watching the game next weekend. And then Tyler Williams was the number 1 wide receiver they took in the 23 class. Big, physical, possession receiver. I think he could see the field a little bit next year. If not, dude's probably transferring because you got to play. And so there are lots of weapons, but I think they're all somewhat on the same level. They do things different, right? They play somewhat different wide receiver positions, but I do think it's important that one guy steps up among the rest. You need a big 3rd down, 4th down with the game on the line, even in double coverage. There's one specific guy they can go to. I think that is definitely towards the top of Kirby Smart's wish list. Let's just think randomly. Maybe more improvement from Gunnar Stockton. Georgia's going against some quality defenses, some really good teams next year. God forbid something happens to Carson Beck. It's important that Gunnar Stockton is ready to step up and take control, take the reins of this program. This is not Florida State. And I don't mean to keep bashing on Florida State, but Florida State didn't have a backup quarterback that can lead them anywhere. They don't have a 3rd-string quarterback that can lead them anywhere. And that's what kept them out of the playoffs, because they didn't have a quarterback that the committee thought was worthy of leading this team. And they were right. They were right. It just is what it is. Enough about Florida State, but Georgia needs a solid backup quarterback who can step in if something happens to Carson Beck and continue to lead this team to a possible national championship. Because they're at this point now, only them in Alabama, where it's national championship or bust. Texas can't say that. Michigan can't say that. Ohio State can't say that. They can have very, very good years and be happy with years that they don't win the national championship. Alabama and Georgia, right now, they're the only 2 programs in the country where they can say, we did not win the national championship. Season's a disappointment. No one else can say that. Ohio State should be happy with whatever happens to them. Michigan should be happy that they made it to the college football playoff again. They shouldn't expect a national championship. They have half a national championship in the last 80 years. Give me a break. So Georgia needs a quarterback who can step in if Carson Beck goes down and still puts them in a championship caliber, potential, right? So I think Kirby Smart's asking Santa, hey, can you help me keep developing this really, really good quarterback in Gunnar Stockton? Let's think about some more. Oh, he's asking for depth along the defensive line. That's a big reason why they lost to Alabama. It's because they didn't have that killer. They didn't have a Jordan Davis. They didn't have a Trayvon Walker. They didn't have a Jalen Carter, Devonta Wyatt, Nolan Smith. They didn't have one of those guys on the defensive line who's just wrecking things, right? Remember what Jalen Carter did to LSU in that SEC championship in 2022? A complete game changer. They didn't have that last year on the defensive line. They probably need that this year, whether it's Jamal Jarrett or Jordan Hall. I mean, Michael Williams is really good. He was not a game changer last year. Maybe he is this year. He's not an interior guy, but he's still got his hand in the ground. Maybe that's a guy who commands a double team, right? Or demands one. But they need a guy there who turns into one of the best defensive linemen in college football and can absolutely wreck who's ever in front of them and really can punish an offense on any particular play. That's what they need. What about this? Kirby's probably asking Santa, hey, can I just get one of these 2 guys back? Give me either Kamari Lassiter or Javon Bullard. Just one of those 2. If one of those guys comes back, you're talking about Georgia having maybe the best secondary in college football next year, along with Malachi Starks, along with, Janelle Aguero, who was a freshman, showing a lot of promise. The staff loves him. Kirby, Will Muschamp, they love this kid. Year 2 next fall for Janelle Aguero. He's going to have to hold off, KJ Bolden and some other safeties, but he's a very good player. Maybe that is his breakout season next year. At cornerback, they're going to need some help too. If Kamari Lassiter leaves like I think he is, you've got Dalen Everett there. Julian Humphrey, I think, is not in the portal. I think he's decided to come back. I don't know 100% because I don't think he's said anything publicly. But they need more depth. And ideally, if you're Kirby Smart, you would love Kamari Lassiter or Javon Bullard to come back. One of those 2 is a big, big deal. Both coming back I don't even have to look at any other roster. That's the best secondary in college football next year if Kamari Lassiter and Javon Bullard both come back by a mile. No one's even touching Georgia's secondary next year if those two guys both decide to come back. Not even close. And I don't even know who's going to be the other starting cornerback. Well, I guess if Kamari Lassiter comes back, it would be Dalen Everett. But at that point, you're just building quality depth behind those guys. That would be big, big, big. So off the top of my head, because I forgot to make a video, it's Christmas. That is what I think Kirby Smart is asking Santa Claus. Maybe he'll get it this spring. Maybe he'll get a decision from one of those defensive backs sooner than later, maybe after the Orange Bowl. Maybe a starting center emerges and has a big year next year. Either way, those are some positions I think Kirby Smart's like, hey, Santa Claus, if you want to, make the rich richer, you want to help me out even more, help me out with these position groups. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for watching the content. We love y'all. We love our YouTube audience. Sign up to our free newsletter. That link is down below. We've still got stories over on Dawg Post, but I hope y'all are having a Merry Christmas. Hope you're enjoying time with the family. Thanks for taking some time to watch this video. Obviously, y'all are the best. I love you. I love you. I love you. Y'all are the best. See you over on the website.